It does have the Dark Crusade. And welcome to a very familiar place, a place that most kindred in the city know fairly well. It is, well, it's Omar's shop, but it's more specifically the first floor of Omar's shop. A get together that has seen its, well, ups and downs, shall we say? Multiple repairs, burn marks maybe still be, well, smelled or seen. You know, this place has been had a rough history this last year. But at the moment, a solitary figure is sitting at a table. She has a book in front of her. She's in a dark cloak. She is actually wearing armor still. It's hidden away. It's only good custom to, or polite not to show it too much.
I'm being led, so I'll happily go. And Saskia says, "Hey, Evan, we're doing a thing."
Saskia just realized she has the wrong picture up, so she's changing her picture. So if anyone else wants to go first, please do, so I can focus on picture changing. Because I need to brain and I can't brain.
Um, Through the threshold, Al Qadir will open the door and take a minor bow to Omar and see the Lady Madeline sit down or be sitting down in one of the chairs, and he will move over to her, gesture a sign of greeting, and he'll ask, "May I sit down with you?"
Um, just as a point of reference, as you open the door and she sees you, she gets up and she just says, "It is so good to see you well, relatively well as to last time I saw you. How are you faring?"
Better now.
Good.
Oddly enough, my hosts were very kind to me.
I would certainly hope so.
It was surprising, as he sits.
And by sheer coincidence of plot, why not? Um, there is a soft knock on the door.
You can just enter, like, Madeline. This is not Madeline's place, and I don't think there's actually you had to be let in. Or, like,
No, no, no. She's just waiting. Like, does she hear anyone? Does someone say that she can enter? If no one says anything, then after a few seconds, the door will just open ever so slightly. And Irene will just like give a quick look, and then open it fully, revealing herself and someone else who can better describe himself behind her.
So behind her, Famushi actually dresses in a very odd style. He dresses in Asian silk. So he's dressed currently in a very loose-fitting, pleasant-looking robe that appears to be covered in the images of suns and dragons. But you can tell his eyes are very obviously blind, so they're very, very grey, and there's some scar tissue over the eyes themselves. And he walks very, very hesitantly. He has his hand on Irene's shoulder, who's guiding him, but he also has a stick with him that he keeps relatively close that appears to be made of bamboo and that has a number of kanji or Chinese/Japanese symbols etched into it, carved into it, and then accented. But he kind of he's smiling at the moment and he bobs his head happily. He's happy to be here.
Irene will just give a not too deep curtsy, because that will be very uncomfortable for the person who has their hand on their shoulders. But she doesn't want to neglect etiquette fully. So there's just a small curtsy, as she will take a few steps in. Lady Madeline, Sir Alkadir, it is a pleasure to see the both of you.
Quite so. It is likewise a very good pleasure to see you. And I have heard of one or two new visitors. I assume this is one of them.
Please allow me to introduce Sir Famoshi to you, both of you.
Kadir raises an eyebrow to the sound of that name, and more or less curiosity.
If any of you are familiar, I'll give the bit of brief. Famushi, from what you're able to understand, 'cause he has fame for, he's actually really famous. He's a wandering exorcist, an individual who's famous for doing grand acts of faith, like faith healing and pulling demons out of people. So think about the kind of the grand old spectacle that was faith, and you essentially kind of come to think about his name is almost synonymous with it, with his strange Eastern ways, etc. But he hears where the voices are coming from, and he bows very deeply in that rough general direction.
Formoshi, I apologize if I pronounced it incorrectly. You will hear the voices coming towards you, and it's pretty much next to you. My name is Sister Madeleine. It is a very good pleasure to meet you. You grace our city. We are honored.
He holds out his hands, and he says, he kind of reaches, and he's very gently reaching for your face, if you understand the thing that blind people do to see you.
Yeah, you will feel very lightly. She will guide your hands. It is quite all right. You can you can touch my face.
So he does the very brief, cursory thing with his hands. He'll actually activate his aspects for heightened sense of touch. So he just does he does it. And he says, "You're very beautiful, sister, and I thank you for your welcome. It is. It has been very long, and it has been a very long road to return here. But you welcome me to Odessa, a jewel, no doubt. Mistress or Lady Irene has spent the evening showing it to me or bringing me to the places. And there's so much light here and so much happiness. It is joyful to experience."
Hmm, quite so. But while I do not believe necessarily in a fate set in stone, it seems good for a person of your means to come to our city at this time. You have undoubtedly heard of the troubles that plague us.
The noble Prince of Timoran spoke to me briefly on the topic. He is. He contemplates. He kind of looks to where he knows Irene is standing, or kind of like his head turns and he kind of bobs it to the side. He appears to be thinking of the correct words. He says, "He is a man who has nobility woven into his soul." Yes, that is correct, I think.
Oh, I very much concur.
But I am pleased to be here. It is my sworn duty to stand against entities such as the ones that have been mentioned to me. And should my meager presence prove in any way of use, I am delighted to be of service.
It will be to the whole domain, not to any one person. And that should make it all the more noble.
Why is it that it is more noble for one to save one than it is for one to save 100?
That is a very good question. Perhaps I was mistaken.
My apologies. He bows once again in the direction of Al-Qadir. If we have interrupted your conversation.
No, it was a minor greeting. If he can feel the emotions of the Rue, it's more or less skepticism. He can tell when he hears Al Qadir's voice.
I'm curious, noble sir. Why is it that you disbelieve?
It's just the times at the moment. We need to be careful, man. Let's just say, unfortunately, recent events have made me hardened to new arrivals.
Ah, yes. Oh, for the record, sorry, we have a Nelson. Nelson, feel free to come in. My apologies. Didn't see you there.
After at this moment, yes, the door will open, and the Primogen of Toador will see everyone and show courtesy and bow, and smile especially at Irene, Irene and Arcadir. Ah, Lady Irene, Arcadir, how good it is to see you. You seem to have awakened and, well, healed of the ill goings. And if you guys let her, she'll hug each of you.
Irene will choose to curtsy. Like, you go in for a hug, and she'll curtsy and duck underneath your arms, basically. Because etiquette, it's a thing.
Kadir will actually deny her courtesy and just kind of shakes his head.
How are you going?
Wait. Oh, my apologies, Lady Margot. Alcadir, did something happen to you?
And he looks at Irene, then he remembers that she was heavily burned before she saw what happened to him.
I mean, she was in torpor by
Yeah.
the time that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's to say he's remembering that.
Yeah.
And he'll just say, I was a prisoner of war for a moment.
I see. I'm sorry, I was unaware.
No, you said you were dealing with your own survival. It's very acceptable.
And you're coming to the city, a newcomer to this city.
Once again, he turns to the vague area where the voice is, and he bows.
Good evening. I am Lady Margot de Cornier. Pleased to meet you.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, noble lady. I am sorry, Master Al-Qadir, that you have endured such pain at the hands of those whom at one point knew better.
Like everyone, they have their reasons. But it does not change the fact that this is our home.
I'm going to roll subterfuge. Do we have the dice roller up yet?
Nope.
Nope.
God damn it. Anyone has a preference for a dice roller?
Let's go with
wait.
one.
I
What
am
happened to the
very
dice
fine
roller?
with one.
Okay.
Let's see.
sorry. I need to check my pool. Come on, cheat. Don't be slow. Sorry. I mean, feel free to play a lot to keep playing. I'm just rolling in the background.
Yes, Marco.
Or
We
not.
have a new visitor to the city.
And may I have the honor of knowing your name?
Oh, I am called Famushi. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, as I have said, my noble lady.
Oh, I think I have heard of your name. It is an honor for Edessa, for you to come here to Edessa.
He seems to be contemplating before he says, yeah, fuck it, this character is so brutally on. He doesn't have subterfuge. He'll say, I hear that, how would I phrase this? He will, I beg my forgiveness for a moment. I hear that the city is beset by our old enemy, whom we have fought not once but twice, and whom in the last war claimed the founder of my line. Not only that, but I hear that my brother stalks the streets and does terrible things in the name of what he considers to be justice, in the name of vengeance. So here I stand to right whatever wrongs I can right with my hands.
And again, all the skepticism said Kadir is staring points at him. He's just listening to every word he's saying, and he's just thinking. It's just-
In that case, as Saskia is the defender, she's as cool as a cucumber.
Oh, well, your willingness to set things right is very appreciated.
I believe that there is still the possibility for the redemption of my brother, which is why I am here. He is filled with rage and pain. It is understandable rage and understandable pain when it is you see our brothers and sisters laid low by those who seek only to drink their souls. But there is redemption for all, even those who do not necessarily see the fact that they can be redeemed.
An honorable approach.
For the record, yeah, at this point you can all just assume, hey, that's a salubri. Look at it there, being a salubri.
I mean, I already know.
I know, right?
Yes, I know things.
You know the
Yeah, drink.
things. But I was going to say, particularly to Al-Qadir, because obviously the Assamites and the Salubri were the only two clans who really fought. Well, the Assamites, the Salubri, and the Bruja were the three clans who fought the two Bali wars. So when he starts talking about old enemies and two wars, that's a fair assessment for an Assamite to go, oh yeah, those
Well,
things we fought.
No, because thinking about more or less just because of your fame and your acts of faith, and then especially hearing your words, he has come to the idea that you're a salubri, which that's the reason why he says that's why he stared at you even more because of Tabris. And that's why he's even more skeptical because he's more or less at this point he's concerned, like why did somebody let a salubri get into the city when we're being assaulted by a salubri right now?
Valid. He will kind of look at Irene and he will say, is there somewhere where I may sit down?
Of course, my apologies. Irene will Yeah, she'll lead him to like a chair somewhere where he's somewhat in the middle of the room because he deserves all the attention.
No, he doesn't. Let him sit at the side. Damn it!
Nope.
Dang it! He sits down and very, very slowly. His moves are all very slow, very deliberate. He sits down and he says, "Will you accept my apologies on behalf of my clan, Master Alcadir, for what has befallen you, offered with the most sincere of statement and the most abject of humility?"
As I can appreciate your words, time will tell in the long run of your true intentions.
Judges are so quick to pass judgment. That is the nature of their existence. But it is that things flow, truth to lies and lies to truth. Someday, we get the two confused.
That hesitation can lead to disaster. I will not hesitate.
His head turns and he says, "Did you hesitate? Is that why you must now amend yourself for the sin?"
That we have.
I'm sorry that you have felt so much pain. And once again, I will offer my apologies for that, as well as the injuries you have suffered. But once again, you must understand that Tabarus is a very long time ago. A man walked into the East, seeking truth. And a man returned from the East with that truth. And it was clear for all to see that he had transcended this condition, this curse. He had mastered it. Through his own will, he had expelled the beast, and he had achieved oneness with self and truth. And in those moments, when our founder died, and when so many that we loved, who sought only the ending of pain, the cessation of the suffering of others, were laid low, it was more than he and many others could take. And so hatred grew in their hearts to the point where they ceased being good men that they once were, and they became monsters. So I would ask, Judge, that before you pass judgment, you contemplate the fact that good men once lived where now only monsters remain, and why it is that they were birthed.
I judge on their history and their works. We all have the potential to be monsters, but I also believe that we all should do our best to strive to be above our condition and our monstrosities.
There is wisdom in that statement. He smiles, and there appears to be genuine warmth behind the smile. And he just sits there quietly.
I hope we can redeem your brother, because facing him in the battlefield would be extremely difficult. I have seen him fight.
He is like I am. He was blooded by the code. He sings the song of Samael. There are very few who can stand before us when we sing his name, when we let our fears burn upon the altar of our enemies. By the way, for those of you, this is actually really important, and I'm going to give you a little kind of prod in that direction. If you recall, Solodrin basically went down and he said, this guy can do this really amazing thing. It's called the Song of Samael. He can basically do horrible things. This guy has just said, oh yeah, I can do that too. just in case it's important, because I did do a whole speech on it during the mission for Alcadir.
Again, it's said all the skepticism.
Another subterfuge roll. Okay.
Keep rolling.
rolling. Yeah, fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna count. I'm gonna do that system. You know, I'm gonna
3
roll that.
successes.
I mean, it's mostly on keeping a straight face, but it's fine. You can roll.
I've got 3 successes.
Okay. I mean, seems to be looking somewhat sad, and there's even a slight hint of, I don't know, it's not necessarily anger, but it's like a sort of understanding. She seems to know more about the things that were just spoken about Tabris.
I will tell you, because he is my brother. Yes, this is fair. Alcadir, you who have been wronged, may I give you a piece of information to try and right that wrong?
We will simply state, if you wish to divulge to me such information amongst this party, that is up to you.
All of us who are blooded by the code, Tabris must accept single combat against a foe whom he deems worthy, and he cannot refuse. In that combat, he will use all of his guile and artifice to achieve victory, but he will fight you as one individual to another, and no one will interfere.
And do you say that if he is beaten, but not necessarily ended, but merely defeated, and he accepts defeat, that he would stand down?
He would either stand down or he would opt to die. It depends upon his given mindset, but he would consider the combat to be just when he agrees to it. He will not challenge again if he is beaten, because he has been shown to be beaten, and right has proven whom is right, and wrong has proven whom is wrong. None of his men would be allowed to intercede. He would cut them down, because it would affect the challenge. It is a basic tenet that we who are the children of Samael live by. So choose from among your number the strongest of warriors, one who has a spark of nobility left within them, and he will fight them. And that may be your best opportunity to defeat the man sans his legions. I give this information to you, Alcadir, as some payment to show that my clan have their heart still, and to repay the grievous harm that you have suffered, in some small way.
I'll get it once, and I hope your words ring true when the time comes.
Unless he has fallen beyond our code, beyond the path that we walk, I believe it will hold true.
Let us not hope that is the case. But should your first few conversations in this place not be of more fun topics?
Don't die.
As levity would much be appreciated in this time, I feel that we have a responsibility to the city first.
Do you believe that he would give up his own beliefs in order to save his clan?
We have not fallen yet, Lady Irene. I am a member of our warrior caste, though you might not think it. How could a blind man, etc. That's fine. There are very few of us left. There were very few of us left when Saulot, the most noble, when the dragon died. And most of our clan were healers who sought, as I say, to only salve the wounds of those who were in pain. And we could not protect them. That is a horrible feeling. The feeling that we were impotent to prevent our friends, those we were sworn to protect, from falling. And I think that he has fallen far from anger and from rage. But to turn his back on the teachings of our founder would be anathema to all of us. He is a child of Samael. I am a child of Samael. We bear angels' names so that we may better ascertain the good that must come from the sword. I do not believe he has fallen so far, because if he were to do so, what is the clan? The clan is not worth defending if we abandon our ideals to dust.
Sorry, I missed out on half of that.
God damn it, that was really cool.
I know it was really cool, but I'm sorry, I missed the end of it.
I'll sum it up in the single sentence he said. He said, our clan, he could not defend our clan if he were to abandon our ideals, because
Yeah.
if he were to abandon our ideals, it would be better that we be rendered onto dust. Our clan is the sum of our ideals, basically.
Your clan is the sum of your ideals. If it is all that you stand for, I know what I would be willing to give up for some. I wonder what he would be.
Well, would you also not say that I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I wonder. Would you not say that there are some ideals that transcends clan? Those ideals hold true for more than just those of your blood.
Of course. Some of the finest artisans I've ever known have not been Toreador. They have been Nosferatu. They have been Ravnos. They have been many things, just as some of the most shrewd politicians have not been Ventrue. They have been Gangrel. So, ultimately, the virtues that we all have within our hearts are not entirely indicative of what clan to whom we now embrace or are embraced by. We are merely, he stops and contemplates for a few seconds, the sum of our ideals. But I do not know. I do not believe that Tabarus has fallen so far that he has forgotten the code that we live by. But then again, there's only one way to see.
Well, if you intend to do this, help your brother. I will assist you if you wish.
Hmm.
I do not believe I will be fighting him.
I hope to convince him without the need for violence, but should it come to it, in order to prove the fact that my clan are still friends, even to those who forgot us, then I will fight him if it is necessary. I do not wish to, but once again, I will not have it said that the clan of Salubri, the clan of Salot, turned their back on one of their own when it was that he needed to be given sleep and given rest, should he be beyond redemption.
Noble indeed.
Noble, perhaps. I find that when it is you speak the honest and truest of truths, people tend to think of it as nobility, when as a matter of fact, it is merely truth.
But it is truth in a context, I suppose, or where it is in very, very short supply most of the time. So when one hears it, it is all the sweeter.
Yes. I would ask a favor, a benefice, of all of you here gathered, if you would listen. It's not very much.
Of course, speak.
Should the warlocks come, the usurpers of our blood, and attempt or indeed render me to ash, merely remember the fact that I was here, and that our clan still has some nobility that remains.
Of this you have my promise.
As you will have mine. Before the fall of your clan in the city, I had a friend amongst you.
I'm glad to hear it. And I'm sorry that your friend is gone. He, wherever Margot is in the room, he reaches out his hand and he will say, perhaps in time, as reparation for what you have lost, I may offer you a new friendship.
She'll take the hand. I am always open to having new friends. I'm sure your friendship will come to be dear to me.
He smiles. May I ask, when my clan were here, where was it that they called home? I wish to see it, or be within it.
The Jewish quarters.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. I remember your people residing with us in the Jewish quarters. At least some of them.
Out of character, because I wasn't here for season 1, obviously. Was that where the Salubri domain was? I don't know where.
If I remember right, that's what Chris said. That they helped with the they did reside. Some of them, a good portion, resided in the Jewish quarters with the Asamites.
Nice. He looks at Irene and he says, would you mind showing me where that is?
Of course.
Thank you. I am very much obliged.
The pleasure is all mine.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I must be on my way. I have many things to see to. Please be safe in these troubled nights. And Madeline will curtsy and will leave.
I should be going to, and she'll look to the newcomer and Fumoshi. If you ever feel like relaxing, ask for the bathhouse. Our kind is always welcome here. Is always welcome there. Sorry.
I thank you for your kind offer. As I said, all I seek here is to do some small amount of good. We shall see what happens.
And she'll nod. And with that, she'll leave too.
He stands up and he kind of reaches towards a vague direction of an Irene, like, behind.
Starting to feel Irene is a dog now.
She is the cutest pupper. It's fine, don't
She
worry.
wouldn't mind. She wouldn't mind. Yeah, she will come up to him. She hasn't sat down at all, so she's probably just right next to him, and we'll help him up.
It has been a pleasure to meet you, Master Al-Qadir.
So, he will simply kind of speak out more to Irene. Said, "Make sure you're safe."
And you as well, Sir Al-Qadir. I am sorry to hear that you got in trouble. If you need someone to talk to.
What I need right now is to make sure that our places are not burnt to the ground.
Of course. And yeah, she will guide Fumoshi out and head into the direction of the Jewish quarter, apparently.
Famushi will stop, and he will outside of Omar's shop, and he reaches up and he places a hand on the side of Irene's face. And he says, once again, he how tall is Irene?
Probably about the same height. Irene is not the tallest of persons.
I mean, Famushi's only about 5'7", 5'8", so he's
Yeah.
actually pretty sharp by male standards. But he won't look into her eyes because he can't. But he will say, if they do come to try and end me, as they have ended so many of my loved ones
They will
and
not
so many friends.
They will not succeed.
Why do you say that?
Because I will not allow it.
Why do you care so much for a stranger whom a few days ago you did not know?
Is the life of a stranger worth less than the life of someone that I know?
That is the greatest answer. He leans in and he presses his forehead to your forehead. I just have to do a quick thing.
Oh God. And then Irene dies. Ah!
No, you feel... There's definitely a lot of emotion in what he's doing, and it's odd. You feel like him pressing his forehead to yours has some kind of meaning that you don't really get, if that makes sense. But to him, there's clearly a significance to him doing it. But yeah, and in that touching moment, we will end the scene. So thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watching, for watching. This has been another scene in Odessa, The Dark Crusade Season 2. I almost said Darkness in Dublin, but then I didn't. Ha ha! Have a pleasant evening.